Hello again. I'm going to do chapter 13 today. I hope you read it. Maybe. Alright, well, I have two things on this chapter. Um, the chapter itself, the story is called When Greed Determines Choice. So that's kind of the biggest point of this one, is greed. Now, when Abram and Lot got to where they were going, where did they get to? South. Anyways, they were somewhere. When they got to where they were going, um, both Abram and Lot had way too much stuff, so they couldn't stay together. All right, because fighting over resources and space and all that stuff, there were just too many of them, so they couldn't dwell together. All right. So there began to be a lot of neglect and stuff like that, like strife and whatnot between Abram and Lot and between their herdsmen. So, what's cool, first of all, is Abram, being the older and the head of the household, technically, looks at Lot and says, pretty much gives him the choice. Says, if you take the left, then I will go to the right. If you take the right, then I will go to the left. So Abram, being the older one, still gives Lot the choice, which is a big deal at this time. But Lot, still inflicted with that greed, just pretty much looks up, sees all the plains of Jordan, and that it was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as you go towards Zoar. So pretty much, he looked for the better part of the land. He looked for the pretty parts, the well-watered part, all that stuff, and he takes that. And it's like, Abram, you know this crap. I'm gonna go over there where it's all pretty. So Lot is kind of a jerk. But his choice was so overwhelmed with greed because he just wanted the better part. Alright? Failing to realize that this should have been Abram's choice to begin with. So, this was my second point. Well, first point, I guess, is greed is horrible. Because, second point. Alright. So, second point is that, again, Lot noticed all the plains of Jordan and all that, and it looked fantastic. It looked beautiful from the outside. Alright. So then Lot journeys east towards all the plains of Jordan and whatnot. And chapter 13, or verse 13 says, but the men of Sodom, where Lot journeyed, where he would live in the plains of Jordan, were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord. So this, I thought, was a huge thing, because Lot got the choice, and he chose the better part, which ended up being the worst part. So things aren't always exactly what they seem, which, even today, we find is a huge thing for us. Because we see, well, I guess being a guy, I'm talking to guys, you see a girl and they're like, oh, they're so beautiful, ooh, I want to get with them. And then you once get to know them, you're like, whoa, they're a massive jerk. I don't like you anymore. It's that whole judging a book by its cover mentality, which we all do. I'm not excluded. I do this all the time. I really try not to, but it's very hard not to because it's something that has been embedded into our minds to just look on the outside of whatever situation it is or whatever that is. Which, for Lot, overall, pretty much messes him over. The next chapter, he gets captured. Yeah. And this is all because he let greed rule over his decision. Alright? So, this whole chapter is pretty much, greed is horrible. Alright? If you let greed define your choices, what you're doing, you're going to be messed over in the end. For instance, tithing. Tithing is a big thing. People don't want to tithe because they're greedy with their money. They're like, I need this money for myself to do whatever. But the truth is, if you tithe, you're more blessed in the end when he pays you back 100-fold, which means 100 times, by the way. He'll pay you back 100-fold. If you don't tithe because you're so greedy with your money, you will probably end up messed over in the end for some reason. Alright? So just keep that in mind. When you're making a decision, think about why you're doing that. Think about why you're making this decision. Is it because you just want to benefit yourself? Or is it because you feel like this is the best decision? You make decisions, you go, yes, I'm so happy with this decision. Best decision of life. If that's what you do, then you're probably a good choice. Right on. And again, with the whole judge a book by its cover thing, that can really mess us over as well. Because, I mean, there are some people who could be the coolest people on earth. And you could... coolest people on earth. That pretty much sums it up. And just because they look funny, or they have like a weird nose or something, or like a Pinocchio nose, then you're just like, ew, gross. I don't want to be their friend. They'll make me look bad. You know what? You're making yourself look bad by judging him or her by what she looks like. Or he looks like. So you know what? Keep that in mind as well. Never judge anything or anyone by the way it looks. Because big example is things we go through. We look at them as, it was so horrible. Why did God put me through this? This is the worst thing ever. But you know what? With some of the things we go through, just he does it for a reason. If we look at it just from the outside, it's like, God's a big jerk and he's making my life miserable. But if you look deeper, it's more of, hey, God's amazing. He used this to make me awesome. God always has our awesomeness in mind, trying to make us more awesome. So there's the two big examples of that. Now, that's all I had to say. So, there you go. Greed, judging a book by its cover, keep that in mind. Right on! Have a good day.